PS1 style horror has been one of the biggest trends in horror games over the last few years. You can't go anywhere these days without seeing at least some nod to it some way or another, but the real question is, why is it so popular? Well, it actually comes down to a few reasons. First off, from a game development perspective, creating realistic graphics for games is hard. Having to spend time mapping lighting, depth, color, and reflections, and tiny intentional imperfections, it takes a lot of work, and when not done perfectly, it messes up immersion immensely. But with the low poly pixelated PS1 style, it straight up solves a lot of these problems almost effortlessly. The more pixelated a texture is, the more your brain has to fill in the blank aspects of it. Instead of having to recreate realistic imperfections on all of your high quality textures, a developer can just bump up the pixel count and get something that provides that same atmosphere. A complex stain on the wall can now just be represented by one slightly darker pixel. And to your brain, you still see it as gross. It just works. And it's exactly this why a lot of devs like this style. It makes getting that feel to their game way more reachable. Character models benefit from this as well. Normally when you create a model for a game, you have to detail it heavily because if not, it just looks incredibly unfinished. But here, the lack of clarity is just part of the game and adds to that unsettling nature. It can easily fall into that uncanny valley type of zone, which is what a lot of horror games strive to accomplish. On top of that, pixelization allows developers to have a lot more creative liberties that they may have previously not been able to do. Jerky, unnatural movements can be done much easier and still give off that grotesque feel the developer wanted without as much hardship with the worst thing in existence, animation rigs. When it comes to horror, pixelization can also make certain things feel way more fear-inducing just on the basis that it's unclear. When our brain doesn't have enough information to determine something, it will start imagining. Even just a small change in color can look like movement when everything else can't be fully seen, and your brain will automatically think of the scariest possible explanation. And this works because in horror, ambiguity is much more powerful than clarity. When you can see all the details of something, you can process and understand it, allowing you to know what you're facing. But when the visuals of something are warped, moving erratically, and not able to be seen clearly, you will fill in all the horrific details. Most of us grew up using something pixelated some way or another, and seeing something so familiar, yet so terrifying, heightens that fear response even more. It's just like how hearing a lullaby song where you shouldn't gives off that intense dread feel. It's familiar, and it's supposed to be innocent, but when you hear it in a setting that it's not, it turns incredibly unnerving. Seeing these pixelated games, but now in a dark horror atmosphere, adds on to this horror due to the same process. This is why PS1 graphics are in use so often today. It allows for ease when creating these games, and heightens the fear by using your own brain against you. Hopefully, now you can recognize some of these aspects the next time you play one of these games.